All right, Abbey Weitzeil, welcome to my ISL podcast. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Listen, you've had a pretty good rookie season so far. You're killing it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been extremely fun. Definitely different than anything else that I've experienced. It's always fun to do something new and just to be back into racing. It's awesome. It's really fun. A bit rusty at first and slowly finding my groove back just like everyone else. So it's been fun.
Nice. Now, listen, you probably had the choice of any team. Why did you end up picking the LA Current?
Well, I obviously have a lot of friends on the team, which is awesome. Just to be around people that I am familiar with and enjoy being around. And I don't know, I love Lenny, and I don't know, I just had a good feeling about it and was always kind of on the direction of LA Current, just watching like all my teammates perform on it last year. And yeah, I just kind of I chose LA.
Just fit. Yeah, fit. You got the right colors too, right?
Yeah, it is. Honestly, maybe it was the yellow and blue. Who knows? Although we're purple this year, which is a little weird.
Now, so tell me your first impressions of the first meet. How was that whole experience?
The first meet was definitely a shock to the system and the mind and the body and everything. First, just getting straight back into racing, I think everyone was in a little bit of a weird shock. We hadn't done a ton, personally, I hadn't done a ton of races like in practice. So just getting up behind the blocks and doing race after race after race. And it moves extremely fast. Like I had 3 races within 20 minutes the first meet. And it was just insanely fast and my body was like, whoa, what's going on? So it was definitely a learning experience just off the pace of the meet itself. But like I said, it was extremely fun, like being able to just walk out behind the blocks again, and just that feeling was awesome.
Now, do you have I mean, you can swim multiple events. You're really good at a lot of things, but did you have a say in your lineup the first time around?
No, the coaches take care of most of that. Most people swim things. Obviously, I'm going to be in the sprint events, and so I kind of just am like whatever the team needs, I'll swim. And I think that the coaches, based off who we are swimming, put maybe they tried the 50 breast because I did swim in college and on the relay a couple years, and I'm not bad at it, but definitely not my best thing, and haven't trained it in a while. So we put me in some breaststroke. Didn't go extremely well, so might be swaying away from that now. So definitely just trial and error. And there are a couple new things like the 100 IM I've been in, and that's just a question mark for everyone because it's a new event. So trying new things, which is really fun. I think it's a blast, and definitely sticking to my guns in the sprint free though.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a lot of that. I was lucky to be on the team last year, and I understand that you've got to fill some gaps sometimes, and you're not
Yeah.
always going to have your best athletes in their favorite events. You've got to stick them in some 50 breast from time to time, or maybe even a 400 IM, which I'm sure they don't want to put you in that, but
I don't think anyone want to see that.
but there's events where you just got to put your hand up and say, "I'll take one for the team here," right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
it's definitely, I'm obviously, like you said, probably not the person who's going to be put in the 400 IM, but there are people on this team that are constantly doing what the team needs and being put in events that they aren't necessarily their favorites. And that's where the team aspect really comes in, trying to score points. Maybe I'm not in the 100 free, I'm in the 100 IM because we have 100 freestylers that can do the job. So it's just kind of like placing people where we can gain the most points. Not necessarily what everyone's best event is all the time. So that's definitely where the strategy comes in and where we kind of trust the coaches to put the lineup together as best they can.
Yeah. Now, you had a good first meet, but it looked like things really clicked the second meet. Just a couple of days ago, you had incredible performances. Are you pretty happy with it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with short course meters. I've done short course worlds once in 2014, so it's been a minute. And I came in here not really knowing times very well. And so that's kind of fun, honestly, having like the first few meets back where you're not like feeling full pressure on times, exactly. And so that's the fun aspect to it. And yeah, like I said, the first meet was a shock to the system for me. I was just confused, a bit rusty. And the second meet, still figuring things out, but found my way a little bit more, found my groove, and still finding it, and excited for the races to come. I feel like each meet will be a little bit better, and that'll be really exciting.
I was just sitting here waiting for you to come online, and I watched your 50 freestyle where you went 20.9, first woman under 21 seconds. I watched it about 10 times. It's an incredible race.
Thank you.
Is the 50 your event? Is that the one that you love? Is that your baby? I mean, I know you can swim multiple events, but that's the one you really kill it in that event.
Thank you. I mean, I would say it's definitely my favorite event, that and the 100 freestyle. I feel like I'm just based off of my success, I'm probably known more for the 50. I feel like I have a really good 100 freestyle, and I feel like I have a lot more in me for the 100 that hasn't really come through yet, short course or long course. So definitely still working on that mostly. And then the 50, I guess you could call it my baby race. I feel like I am most confident in that race always. It's just a fun 1 or 2 laps and get in there. It's who can go the fastest, shortest race, fastest race. It's just really fun for me to do, and definitely still working on the 100 as well. But yeah.
Yeah, actually, when I was watching it, it reminded me the first time Fred Bousquet swam under 19 seconds. And you do a lot of things right during the race, but especially one point in the race where you and Fred, I felt like, separated yourself from everybody. And that's from the time your feet touch the wall to about the 40-meter mark. You know, those 10 meters there from wall to breakout. You do some really exceptional things, and you put about half a body length on everybody in the field. What are you thinking from the moment you touch the wall there at the turn to the breakout?
Honestly, I don't know what I'm thinking during the race. I have worked a lot on my turn. That is something I think that has improved immensely in the 50 for me. I used to not have the best turns ever, and I spent the last 2 to 3 years really working on my turns, and I think that came through a lot in that race specifically. And I feel like they're a bit rusty right now. I need to get back on track, but in that race, that was, I feel like, the money spot for me was my turn. I just nailed it, and I think that's what made the race for me. And honestly, before 2019, I had never gone a no breath 50. I get very anxious around breathing. And I think that in 2019, like, I had just started doing, which is really funny because I'm a sprinter and I do the 50 and I almost 24 years old. And it's like, I just figured out how to do a no breath 50.
It's 20 seconds, for God's sake. Come on.
I know it makes no sense. I don't need one, but I was just always, it's a habit. It's still sometimes a habit. Like, I find myself taking a breath in a race somewhere and I'm like, why did I do that? It's a habit I really need to break. But anyways, I think that's honestly what I used to think about, was like, okay, do I take a breath? Where do I take my breath? It was always about my breath. And I think once I learned to kind of switch that off and think about, like, just like, I don't even know how to explain it, just like my feeling and movement in the water more, especially off the turn, like nailing my kicks into my breakout. That's when I can really perform a really good 50 and not just be anxious about my breath, which sounds really crazy, but it gets to me. And I think I'm still working on, like, my breath in races. You know, sometimes I'll double breathe at the end of my 100 and I'm like, why did I do that? And so I think that's just something that I have, like, that is kind of where I really have been trying to start working on things. And so I think that's where my mentality has switched in the 50, was more, once I could shut off the breathing, like, anxiety, then that was better.
Yeah, well, good. I appreciate that analysis there. Now, listen, you're a competitive person, but you're also a great teammate. It just seems like you and Beryl have something special going on right now, hey?
Yeah, it's so fun. Skins was a shock. It was, if anyone watched that, I hit a wall. So I was like, okay, I need to, I breathed a lot the first 50. If you watch it, you could totally tell I breathed a lot, tried to get some air. Second 50, still breathed a lot, tried to, ramp it up, to make sure I got in. And then the last one, I think my legs just, I don't know what happened. I hit a wall, and Beryl's awesome. She literally is like a beast. She killed it. And it was just so fun to, like, once we got past that second round, or the first round, knowing or the second round, knowing we were both in the final, like it was just fun. It was like we looked over each other, trying to warm down a little bit. We looked over each other and smiled, like we got it, like we're in. So it's just a blast. And like, yeah, we're up next to each other a lot in the 50 already. We're on relays. It's really fun. We're the same in a lot of ways, just because we're competitive sprinters. And I think it's just fun to have someone on like that on the team next to you.
Love it. Now, listen, just going back to the skins, you know, it was your first experience. What do you think you could do better next time if you had a second swing at that?
Yeah, I would love to have another chance at some skins. I think you definitely, I learned a lot doing it the first time. I mean, I had no idea what was coming for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I think I would just have one, a different mentality going into each round. And two, just knowing what's coming, I think is helpful. Knowing the type of pain that's coming and knowing how to manage it is definitely a learning. There's a learning aspect to that. And having already done it once, I think I'll be able to be better in the next time if I am able to make it into the third round again.
Awesome. Well, there's a couple of factors here that play into the motivation of wanting to be better too. There's a money factor, right? Like there's difference in prize money between first and second in the skins. So there's that motivating factor. And then there's either you're into winning or you just hate losing, one of those two things. And then there's just, you know, you want to get your hand on the wall and be the victor. So, I mean, if you're in that situation again, you're staring off, looking at Beryl, you know, you're just staring off at each other. Like, what are you thinking there? Are you thinking, this is my money? You're not taking my money from me? Or are you like, you're not beating me? Or what is it you think?
I don't know. Honestly, it's really hard to like know what goes on in your head behind the blocks. At least for some people. For me, I couldn't tell you.
It's better not to think, right?
Yeah, I try not to, because I feel like I'm a very big overthinker. And if I start over analyzing my race while I'm in it, it's over for me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I just need to like shut it off and just go. Which is something that I've learned or worked on a lot at Cal, actually. It's something we work on a lot, is to just kind of analyze and practice and turn your brain off in the race. And so I couldn't really tell you what's going on in my brain. I think I was like, the first time I did the skins going into the third round, I like was like, okay, like I was kind of like, I don't know how this is going to go. Like, we'll see. Instead of being like, all right, I'm going, I was kind of like, I don't know what's happening. Like, this is fun, but I really don't know how this is going to go. And then I felt fine, and I dove off the blocks and I started swimming, and I just hit a wall. And I think I had over analyzed too much already, and I just couldn't get past it. So I think that's where like the learning experience comes in. And if I did it again, I would know how to approach it a little bit better. So for me, it's a lot about just the overthinking, actually. And so that's where I can kind of get in my own head a lot.
Cool. Now, it's pretty cool that you guys are out there, you know, the best athletes in the world are all together on this island. And then, you know, every couple of days you're up competing against each other. Is there any one particular person that you feel like you're super excited to compete against, brings out the best in you, or you just love racing them?
I mean, it's always so fun to race the best in the world. I mean, there's just, I don't think there's like one specific person that I'm like, oh, I really want to race you. I think it's just having the opportunity, because each meet is also different. I mean, we're against different every time. And I think just having the opportunity to race different people, and you either have like each event changes too, like the speed of the event per meet, just because sometimes you don't have the best in that race at that time. You know, it just depends on what team you're going against. And so I think taking each opportunity, you know, maybe you have an edge in this meet and using that. And then maybe you are going against a really hard field the next meet in your event, and you need to utilize that. And I think, I mean, Sarah Soystrom is just an incredible competitor, and she is so like, she swims so much and is just so good at it all. And she's always fun to watch, and I've raced her a ton, and she's just like, is always like on the top of her game. And she, like, props to her. She's an incredible athlete, an incredible competitor. And so that's always someone who's always like a really tough competitor and always fun to be next to on the blocks. But yeah, I don't think she came to mind, but there isn't just one single person that I'm really excited to race.
Well, there's probably a lot of people excited to race you. You know, you're the fastest in history in short course yards. So how do we become the fastest in history in meters now? What do you? How close are you? How do you think you can get that this season? Is that possible?
I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever swim a fresh 50 because the relay's right before the 50 free.
Mm-hmm.
And there's about like I remember every time I get back behind, I swim the relay. There's like last meet, I was told to, chill a little if I can on the relay, just keep the lead or whatever. And so I could not go full blast, but I don't feel like that's going to be an option for a lot of the meets. So, I get back to the warm down pool and I have about 6 minutes until the 50. So it's definitely not going to be easy, just not having a fresh 50. Unless for some reason I'm off the 4 free relay at one point, which who knows if I will be. And I'm definitely not very close to the world record in the short course meters. I think it's a 22.9 by Renomi, if I'm correct.
Oh, wow. That is fast.
23. So not very close, but I feel like I could maybe knock off a few more tenths as the meets go on. So maybe I could get a little closer. I don't want to jinx anything, but who knows?
What's your mindset with Terry, your coach? If you guys make it to the final, are you looking to fully rest and shave for the final, or are you going to swim through it? What's your mindset?
I'm not really. I mean, we're here for 6 weeks, so we have no one is really. I mean, at least I'm training, not who I'm training with. No one's really like rested. I think most people probably aren't. And as you're here for 6 weeks, obviously there's no like set. It's hard because sometimes you have 3 days in between a meet, like we do this week. Sometimes you have a week. After this meet, we have 9 days. So the time in between meets, and you're racing so much and up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't think that it's possible to be like, yeah, I'm tapering and resting fully for the meets. I mean, you obviously, like we had recovery after the last meet, and then we had a little bit of a set, and then we have recovery today. And then tomorrow is our last day before we race. So it's going to be a setup. So it's kind of just like the in-betweens where you can get some good training in, but make sure you aren't trashed before the next meet. So it's not like a taper, but it's not like I'm in 5K practices each time we practice a day. We do some doubles and we're still lifting, but it's just to make sure you can still perform. We are here for a reason. Getting race experience, getting we are here, we're making money, we're doing what we need to do and having fun as well, and just doing those things in between that you can to keep prepping for next year, but also make sure that you can try and perform your best here and get some confidence and get your race strategy ready and just practice.
Awesome. Love it. Well, listen, appreciate your time. Last question. You're in a foreign country. Is there any new food that you've tried since you've been there that you've enjoyed?
Honestly, the food at the hotel has been awesome. I can't complain. They've had a lot of healthy options, lots of vegetables, lots of protein options, every day. And so I've been in worse situations. We have access to buying our own groceries. Okay. I have some PB&J stuff in my room and, there's an app we can do to order some food from local restaurants. They deliver. So I've had some Thai food from here. It's awesome. Nice. Had some Indian food. I've ordered it. So definitely getting a little bit of everything, ordering out some nights if our dinner slot's too late for me or I'm hungry already. Or I'm just, tired of the food a little bit, even though it's great. It's been the same thing. Totally understandable, but sometimes you just want something different. Yeah. And just getting in what I can. I know a lot of people have brought their own like coffee pour overs in their room. So sometimes it's nice to we all have a balcony. So sit out on the balcony and be outside a little bit, have some coffee, do all that good stuff. So haven't tried anything new, but the food has been awesome.
Awesome. Love it. Well, listen, I love watching you compete. You're tough as hell. Keep killing it out there. Fun to watch on TV. You're doing a great job, by the way. So keep it up. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Abby. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right, Alyssa Marsh, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Listen, congratulations on a great second meet, especially.
Yeah, thank you. It was really fun.
Now, you kind of live in the shadow a little bit because you've got a very famous last name, but you're a legitimate swimmer on your own right. I mean, you've proven that in high school, in college, and now on the international scene. I mean, you can swim, girl.
Thank you. Well, thanks a lot. That means a lot coming from you.
Well, listen, talk us through just your experience in the ISL so far. What's it been like for you?
It's been so cool. Like, first of all, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to come at all. So just being here is like crazy for me. I like up until a week before leaving, I honestly didn't think I was going to be able to come. So just like being in a pool with all of the like best swimmers in the world, again, has been just like shocking to me, but also it's taught me a lot in a short amount of time and given me a better perspective on swimming than I have had probably thus far in my career, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Tell me about that. Why weren't you? What was the possibility of you not coming?
So I am a full-time teacher, a high school teacher. I do special ed, and I wasn't sure necessarily about our hybrid model, if that was going to work out with virtual teaching, or if the hours were going to work out in Budapest versus here. When it was in Australia, that was going to be even crazier. So there were a lot of factors involved, and it ended up working out. And I like COVID too. I was like, maybe they'll just drop the meet right before we're all supposed to leave. Who knows? But yeah, I think it's just insane that it ended up working out for all of us, but especially me.
Now, I don't know where you're at personally. I know that you're teaching, and I know that this was a possibility or maybe not, but has this maybe changed your mind in terms of maybe where your career might go beyond this? Or are you looking at this as one season and that's it?
Definitely, I'm in the moment right now, I'd say. I haven't really given a lot of thought to like how this has projected my future in the sport versus like my career and all those things. I would say right now I love both of my jobs. I love swimming and I love teaching, and it'd be hard to give up either. So as of now, I'm going to just keep going through Olympic trials, give that my best shot, and then go from there.
Now, you know, obviously who your parents are and who your father is, and he's the head coach of the team. Was there any kind of feelings for you of like, I'm not sure whether I want to do this based on my dad's the head coach, or was it like, great, let's get in, let's prove myself? I mean, what's your mentality with that?
So I would say like super happy to have both my parents here as coaches on the team. I think that for me, it's a positive, a plus. I'd say where I was a little bit worried or concerned was in the recruiting process, when I definitely have lacked confidence in myself over the years, just being compared to like a lot of amazing swimmers, and coming from maybe a smaller college team. But it definitely like shaped, like, I don't know, the recruiting process was hard, knowing that my dad, who knows my potential better than anyone else, was like maybe the only one thinking of me. Eventually another team reached out, which kind of solidified, okay, I actually, it's worth me to do this. Like I can help, I can contribute to a team. But I'd say that was where the concern was, with my dad being the head coach.
Yeah, well, good. I appreciate you sharing that. So the first meet, I guess you didn't swim anything individually, did you? Just on some relays?
I was on one relay, actually.
One relay? Okay.
Yeah.
So then you get a shot the second time round, and they say, hey, we're going to put you in an individual swim. What's your feeling about that?
I was super pumped. So my two swims I got to do individually were the 50 back and the 50 fly. 50 back, that definitely took a bit of trying to figure out how to do that race, because I had never swum a 50 back before, except for maybe a long course one. But the 50 fly is like my home. That's where I feel most comfortable as a swimmer. So that was more of an excitement thing for me than I'm freaking out nervous sort of thing. Yeah,
well, then you go out and you produce an incredible swim, kind of put your stamp out there, put your name out there as one of the top swimmers in the world. I mean, you finished second in the 50 fly behind Beryl, who had an incredible swim herself. So you guys go 1-2 in that race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was like, it was such a fun experience. I have to say I wasn't shocked by that necessarily. I was expecting to, do well in that event. And I think it was fun to know that other people might have been shocked or surprised at least by that place, at least. That the time, I think I can even do much better than a 25.3, I think was my time. But definitely was fun to see people's reactions after that race.
Good. I like to hear that. There you go. That's the way to talk. Very nice. Now, what's so you can swim multiple events and different strokes as well. Where do you feel like you could give most value to the team?
I mean, I think like in this meet, what is important is the events you're really good at. So I think like I can give most value in the 50 butterfly because it's, oops, sorry, my back, sorry. Because it's a race that I just like I said, I know really well. I even have a couple things I can improve on, but I would say beyond that, the 100 free, because that's the relay event. That is what I'll be swimming most events with. So if I can just master that race while I'm here, that's what's going to help the team the most.
Well, you guys are deep in this now. You've seen everybody swim and you've raced most of the teams now. How are you guys feeling about your chances, going forward?
Feeling great. Honestly, we've been, looking at points. I was just talking to my mom. I mean, the swimmers aren't as concerned with not concerned. Sorry. We're not focused on like the ending result right now. We're focused on our next meet, our next swims.
Yep.
And the coaches are focusing a little bit more on like planning ahead, thinking about semifinals, thinking about finals. Mm-hmm. We're looking great for semifinals right now. So that's awesome. And then going and really pushing for that, making finals again, qualifying for that meet for the LA Current. I think that's super possible. And what is fun is that it might have not been thought to be as possible at the beginning of the season by everyone, I would say.
Well, I know that the schedules may have changed a bit even before, since you've made your decision. Like if you guys make the final, are you going to be able to stay and compete, or do you have to go home and teach?
By that time, I'll be home and having to teach in person, which has benefits and, not, but it there is a chance I'll be here, but as of now, that's when I'm scheduled to go back. But I'm hoping for the best, but I'm also being realistic about the situation. Yeah.
How do you approach your dad when you feel like I could be helpful in this event, or I want to swim this relay? How do you, just any normal swimmer would approach a coach? You just approach him in a normal way and say, hey, I want to be considered for this race?
Yes. That's one great thing about our relationship is that it's not like, I know a lot of people when they saw me coming up in the swimming world, they were trying to give him advice as a coach and a dad, being like, you should have her call you coach on deck and make it a formal, you are this here and this here. But yeah, I just go up to him and say, hey, Dad, can you watch my turn? How am I looking for this 50 back this week? How am I looking for this 100 free? Does it look like I might get that A relay spot? Blah, blah, all those things. It's pretty casual, honestly. It's not anything crazy.
Yeah. Well, what about a teammate that you didn't really know before that you're starting to get to know now that you're really clicking with, or is there anyone out there?
Yeah. Definitely, I would say Claire on our team. She is awesome. The two NC State girls we have, Allie and Michaela, I spend some time with them. Maxine, I didn't know before. So this is fun to finally get to hang out with him. There's literally everyone, except for the team lead people. Of course, I knew them before, but the Brazilians, it's super fun having such a wide range of people here.
Cool. Well, listen, you're doing outstanding. Just wanted to check in with you. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. And good luck with the upcoming meets. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alyssa. Take care.